I hope you are off to an amazing start this week. I hope that you had a really good weekend. I hope that life is just all around doing well. I had a really good Mother's Day weekend. I went home Saturday night and basically just hung out with family for Mother's Day. We went to my mom's favorite restaurant and really just like hung out and had a good time. It was funny because while we were hanging out, something that my mom really wanted to do on Mother's Day was get boba tea. I don't know, I'm sure you are familiar with bubble tea. If you are not, you definitely need to try it out. Like, nothing really compares to boba after a really long day. We went to go get boba, and it was me, my mom, and my sister waiting inside, and my dad was sitting outside. And we had just placed our order, and so we were just kind of like hanging out, obviously socially distanced, at the boba shop waiting for a boba to be ready. And this couple walks in, and I noticed this guy had a really sick Elvis Presley tattoo, and I personally got really captivated by it because I feel like tattoos that are portraits are really hard to accomplish and look really good, you know? So it was on his forearm right here, and I like noticed it, and I just thought it was so sick. And so I like turned to my mom and sister, and I was like, that guy over there has a really sick Elvis tattoo. And my mom instantly gets like annoyed, but me and my sister just like continue the conversation, and my sister started to talk about how she was thinking about possibly getting her second tattoo. And as we're like having this conversation, my mom is getting like increasingly annoyed and just like frustrated, and she like turns to my sister and she's like,
"You better not get any more tattoos."
And I'm just sitting there like annoyed but kind of like not surprised. Like, honestly, I could do like a whole segment of just like growing up with strict parents. And if anyone out there has Asian parents or just has strict parents, they know that tattoos are just like a no-no. They're super frowned upon. Like, it's just so weird. And I felt after like having this like weird interaction with my mom that I wanted to kind of like speak about that and do a video talking about my tattoos, because I am someone who actually really loves expressing myself through my body, and you can do that in so many different types of ways. Some people do that with piercings, tattoos, dancing, the way they dress. Like, you can do it in so many different ways, and for myself, tattoos is definitely one of them. So I decided that I wanted to kind of do a video on that. I guess I'll just like give a little backstory. So growing up, I was a kid who really liked like body modifications. Like, I would always notice if someone had really cool colored hair, and I would ask my mom, "Can I color my hair?" My mom's like, "No, you will never dye your hair." And so I was like, okay, but I feel like it's like one of those things, the more people tell you you can't do it, you just want it even more, you know? Or maybe that's just me being the rebellious child that I was, like, or am. Like, I'm the firstborn, so I feel like that's kind of part of the nature, right? And so, like, I would just always notice that kind of stuff. Growing up, I was super into, like, tattoo competition shows, like LA Ink or Ink Master. Like, I loved that. To me, like, when I would watch these shows of, like, tattoo artists just doing their thing, like, I really viewed that as, like, a part of art and a part of life and a part of just self-expression, you know? And so, like, I remember growing up and my mom being like, "Don't watch that show, like, turn it off." Like, so nervous and so scared that I was just gonna go like absolute batshit crazy and get like tattoos up and down my arms and my neck and stuff. Obviously I didn't do that, but my mom was just super scared. And so I feel like I kind of like grew up with just, you know, my mom always telling me, like, tattoos aren't feminine. Like, tattoos are for convicts and, you know, criminals. Like, you shouldn't even consider them. But that's just never how I really viewed tattoos. And so, you know, I was actually kind of shocked myself because my first tattoo, I didn't actually get it until I was 21. So I really waited a long time. Like, my mom thought, and I even thought when I was like 16 or 15, like, as soon as I turn 18, like, I'm gonna get super tatted, like, blah, 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 blah. When you turn 18, you can also go get piercings. So I feel like when I was 18, I went more that route, and I just started getting like a whole bunch of piercings. Like, I think in my 18th year, like when I turned 18, from 18 to 19, I got like at least 15 piercings. Like I even had my tongue pierced at one point. So I just went wild with that. When I came into tattoos, I really took my time and I really like thought about it. And I was like, I really just want to make sure that if I do get tattooed, that my tattoo has meaning to me, or that it's something that I know that I really, really want, you know? So I just kind of like put that off for like a really long time. So I'm gonna have to film some tattoo snippets like in another clip, and I will insert them, or if I can find pictures I'll like insert them, but I'll just go over each of my tattoos one by one in the order that I got them, and just kind of like talk about them and like what they mean to me and why I like them. So yeah, let's start off with tattoo numero uno. Okay, so my very first tattoo was with my best friend Monica. I'm sure you guys have all heard of Friday the 13th tattoos. So it happened to be a Friday the 13th, and there was a shop local to us in Sacramento, and they were doing this deal where you could pick like anything and make it in a 1x1 design, and they would do it for like 40 or 50 bucks. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I do think that your very first tattoo should be something that you really think about and consider before you just jump into. I learned a lot after I got that tattoo, but basically we decided that we wanted to get matching tattoos. We didn't exactly know what we wanted. I just turned, I was like, you down? And she's like, yeah. And so we like talked about it for a second, and we're like, okay, what should we get? And both she and I are insomniacs, and we're just like moon children. Like we just stay up super late, love being out in the nighttime. Like, I don't know, it just felt like the right thing. So we decided to get a matching crescent moon tattoos. When we first got there, I was like, this was my idea. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I was feeling confident. But as like time went on and we were like getting closer to the front, it was about to be our turn, I was getting like increasingly nervous. I was like, oh shit,
like what have I got myself into? Am I ready for this? Like, I don't freaking know.
And then asked like, okay, who wants to go first? I was like, I want to go first because I feel like if I see her go and she's like in pain, I'm not going to want to do it. And so that was the best idea because Monica was totally freaking out in the chair, but it's all good. So yeah, that was my first tattoo. I decided to get the tattoo with my best friend Monica. I think I waited like 6 or 7 months, and then I was just like, okay, like I have a tattoo that represents like me and my best friend, which is super great, but I kind of want a tattoo that just like represents me, you know? And so like I remember my first present that my dad got me that I really, really liked, and it was actually this really cool telescope. It was this white telescope that my dad got from a garage sale. And I don't know if anyone is familiar with telescopes, but they can get really, really expensive. So when my dad found this telescope at a garage sale, I was like, oh my God, over the moon, like jumping out of my seat. And I just remember when my dad brought it home, we like brought it to our driveway and we just started looking at the stars at night. And I really fell in love with like all things space, all things planet related, all things stars. Like even right now, sitting in my room, I have this really cool puzzle of the planet Mercury, which is like a shot that NASA took of Mercury. And it was this 1,500 piece puzzle that me and my boyfriend, my sister, and my roommate Gaia, we all like worked on, and I have that in my room. Like, you know, the space and stars like hold a special place in my heart. So with that memory in mind, I was like, okay, how sick would it be if I got the Libra constellation tatted on me? And so that was my very second tattoo, and I have that located right here on my left side of my rib cage. Yeah, I think after that tattoo, I waited just like a couple more years because I feel like I do love tattoos, but I feel like I don't like get them as much as like I did when I was super into piercings, because I was like going fucking crazy with that. I would literally get like a new piercing every month. It was insane. But with tattoos, I kind of take a little bit more time to really think about it. So as time went on, me and my sister, I like basically told my sister, like, dude, you're literally like my best friend, like my soulmate. Like, I would just love to have a tattoo that commemorates like you and I's relationship. Like, how do you feel about it? My sister's the type of person that goes into a hair salon and always gets the same haircut because she's afraid of change. And I'm like the complete opposite, where I'm like, okay, like, let's change it up. Let's do something different. I want to look like a whole new person when I walk out. And so tattoos for her are like a really big commitment. And my sister low-key has commitment issues. So it took a little bit of time and a little bit of convincing, but I think it was like my sister's 22nd birthday or 21st birthday. I can't remember, but we decided that we wanted to get matching tattoos, and I was super excited. And because this was my sister's first tattoo, I was like, yo, like, you can really take the reins on this. I want you to like design the tattoo that you really want. And obviously I'll put in a little bit of my input, but like, this is your first tattoo. What's one of our favorite memories that we could commemorate on our bodies forever, or like something that we really like, or something that represents us, you know? My sister's very first ever rave, we went to Nocturnal Wonderland, which is in San Bernardino. I think it's called the what is it? Something San Manuel Amphitheater or something like that. I don't even know. I know that they moved Nocturnal Wonderland out of that amphitheater since then, but basically me and my sister went to this music festival. It was me, her, and my boyfriend at the time, and we literally had the most amazing and fun experience ever. I do remember this one guy though. There was this girl who was hula hooping, which, I mean, you guys have probably seen on my channel that I have a couple videos of me hula hooping, and so there was this guy who was trying to take this girl's hula hoop, and I'm pretty sure he was like super on drugs or something, because he was just like not listening, like not coherent, and he kept on like grabbing it aggressively from her because it was lighting up and it looked super cool, but he was like trying to break it. And so I like walked over to him and I was like, yo, like, let go of her hoop, like that's expensive, you wouldn't like it if someone was doing that to you. And he was really trying to fight me. But besides the point, while we were at that music festival, like me and my sister had this like heart to heart where we really just like opened up to one another about what we mean to one another. And we had this really deep conversation that I feel like was long overdue, but it definitely like gave us this newfound like love and reassurance within our relationship as sisters. And so my sister was like, how sick would it be to get the latitude and longitude of that location and commemorate that music festival on our bodies forever? And so that's exactly what we did. My sister decided that she wanted to have it placed on her left hip, and so I did the exact same. So what was the tattoo that I got next? I'm like losing track. Like, how many tattoos do I even have? Let me count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, I have 8 tattoos. So how many have I gone over now? 3? 3. My next tattoo was something that I sat on for a while. Like, I had this quote, which was my favorite quote. It's, "She conquered her demons and wore her scars like wings." And it's a quote from a philosopher named Atticus. And I found this quote and I just like, as soon as I read it, I just fell in love with it. I really wanted to get a tattoo that kind of, I don't know, had a mention to like resilience and coming out on top. Like, I've struggled with depression on and off throughout my life. At this point in my life, I felt that I had really conquered and tackled, you know, a really dark period that lasted for a long time. And so I really wanted to get this quote tattooed on me. I was visiting Sacramento and I really just wanted to get a quote on this tattoo. I really liked this one shop that was in downtown Sacramento. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like go in, get a consult, see how much it would be, like no problem. Like I mentioned, after I got my first tattoo, I recognized that, not that the person did a bad job, but I just felt like all the other tattoos that I had past that point were getting increasingly better. And so I was like, okay, I think it's better if you like shop around a little bit more and you actually do a little bit of research before you just commit to one person. I think at this point I had already shopped around in San Jose. I went to 3 shops and they were just quoting me really, really high. So this is the first shop I was going to in Sacramento, but it was, like I mentioned, one that I had liked and one I had been to before because they did the tattoo between me and my sister. And he was like, oh, I could do it for this price. And I was like, whoa, like that's a pretty good price. And he was like, I could honestly do it right now if you want. And I was all alone. Like at this point, all the other tattoos that I had, I had another person in my presence with me, so it wasn't as like scary or like nerve-wracking. But he was like, I can do it right now. And I was like, screw it, I'm down, I guess. I, at this point, had my ankle. I had my ribs, which are supposed to be a pretty painful spot. And then I had my thigh, which is not a pretty, like, is not known to be a painful place. But I had heard all of these horror stories that the spine was, like, miserable, like the worst place to get tattooed. If I could do the ribs, I could do the spine, you know? But boy, was I in for a treat. The spine tattoo is like literally the most painful tattoo that I have. I think the most painful tattoo I will ever get. I would never get that tattoo touched up. I will never add to it. I will just leave it where it is because getting your spine tattooed is just such an uncomfortable feeling. Like I just remember thinking like it felt like someone took a hot knife out of a fire and they were scraping up and down my spine just like that for like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours, because I have that quote running all the way up and down my spine. And that pain was so intense and so unbearable. Like I remember laying down and thinking, that's it. Like, I can never do this again. Like, I'm never getting another tattoo. But obviously a year goes by and here I am still with new tattoos. And I actually have an appointment to get a new one, which is going to be my birthday present to myself. Because tattoos are expensive. Oh my God. If you ever meet someone with tattoos all over their body, just know that they put a lot of money into themselves. Like, that's wild. But anyways, yeah. So that was my 4th tattoo. So, also, interestingly enough, that tattoo, my spine tattoo, I got that right before I had this really kind of life-changing experience for me that, you know, it was a little bit traumatic, but it really kind of pushed me once again into a very, very dark place. And so, like, I got that tattoo, and then 5 days later was when that incident happened to me. And, like, honestly, that tattoo was a reminder to myself. Like, every single time I would get out of the shower, I would look at my tattoo, and it would really remind me and push me to recognize the strength that I felt I had found in myself and that I do have in myself. You are strong, and like every battle you've ever had in your life and every obstacle you've ever had to face has made you a stronger person and has brought you to this point, you know? And like you should always be proud of yourself and always be proud of that growth. And so my spine tattoo really reminds me of that. Okay, something that I'm recognizing is that I like to get a new tattoo with my birthdays because the tattoo that I got after that one was for my 25th birthday. No, okay, actually I got this tattoo. I think it was actually another Friday the 13th flash. Actually, it was. I told myself I would go to 3 tattoo shops maximum. I didn't want to be driving around town all over. Like, I lived in San Jose at that point. There's so many tattoo shops. Like, I wasn't going to spend my whole day doing this. Of that is that it's kind of a reminder for me that everything I believe happens for a reason. And even if I don't know why in the moment and I don't understand, later on in the future, I'm going to understand why. And I'm the type of person that reflects a lot. Like, I write every single day. I think I've mentioned that to you guys, but I reflect a lot. And so, like, maybe that knowledge isn't going to come right now in the moment when there's a change or when something that I really wanted doesn't work out, but eventually I'll get that, you know? And then it's also a reminder that you can't really predict your future, but you can definitely alter it. with the decisions that you make. And so this tattoo, as simple as it is, has so many layers of meaning, and I really, really like it. So I actually went to a tattoo shop. It was the very first one, and I walked in and the guy was like, hi, like, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm good. And I was like, are you guys doing any Friday the 13th tattoos? And he's like, yeah, did you want to check them out? And so I like walked up and I looked at the designs and I didn't see anything that I liked. And so I just like turned around and said, thank you. And I was about to be like on my merry way. And he stops me and he was like, hey, like, was there nothing that you liked? Or like, I'm just confused, like, why you're leaving? And I was like, oh, like, I really, really wanted a crystal ball tattoo and I didn't see one on your flash. So I decided if there wasn't one, I'm not going to do it. But the guy was super nice and he was like, hey, like, that's actually a dope idea. I can't believe we didn't think of it before. Like, I'm down to draw a crystal ball for you and I'll give you the price of the flash. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. He drew up this really cool design, and originally I was gonna put it on, I think I was gonna put it like on this part of my arm. But once I saw the design, I was like, no, like this has to be placed somewhere where you're just gonna like see it. And I remember being really nervous because circles are really hard to draw, just like in life. Like, have you ever tried to draw a circle? I can never get a perfect circle. They're always like super wonky. But like, I was nervous about this. He did a really, really good job. I mentioned when I was talking about my spine tattoo that I had gone through something pretty traumatic and pretty, you know, life-changing. And I don't want to like dive too much into the details or anything like that, but I was still dealing with that and dealing with how I felt about myself and dealing with how I felt just about life in that way. And it kind of just inspired me to get this next tattoo. So my next tattoo is actually my favorite like piece of art that I've ever seen, which is by this guy. I think his name is Samsonovich or something, or Samsonovic. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but this guy who does this really cool like street art is called Water the Flowers, and I think it's in New York City. Don't quote me on that. It could be in Chicago. I literally have no idea. I'll do some research on it. And I really like it because, you know, it's two people with a watering can watering one another, and the flowers are in their headspace. And I just love that. And I think I've expressed so many different times like how much the flower cycle just impacts the way I view life. And so this tattoo means so much. It's honestly one of my favorite tattoos just because I just love the meaning behind it, or like my interpretation of it is like, well, one, it is a couple, so it's a male and a female, and it doesn't always have to be taken in the context of relationships, but obviously one of the first things that I take from that is your relationships should, it doesn't have to be between boyfriend and girlfriend, but your relationships in general should give you something, right? They should make you grow. They should challenge you, and they should make you feel supported and make you take that next step in your life. And the thing about what I was dealing with and what I was going through is that I just felt that I was allowing myself to be in relationships or friendships with people that didn't really do that, that might hold me back or might put me down or make me feel like I'm not living up to my fullest potential, you know? And that was a really harsh reality for me to accept, that I was kind of putting myself in that in a self-sabotage type of a way. And so, yeah, that tattoo has that one meaning. Two, I really like that the body is very plain, like it's black and white, but the head is where all this color is and all this life is. And I really truly believe that your thoughts really, really dictate or influence the way you perceive things and the way you express yourself, because your thoughts are kind of what steer you and navigate you, and your heart is your inner compass, but your thoughts are kind of how you process what your heart is telling you and how you communicate those things and how you make decisions in life, you know? So your head is such a large influence in your perspective and the way you take on life's challenges. So to me, I really found a lot of impact in the head being where all that color was. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite tattoos. I just love it so much. I look at it every single time I get out of the shower. It just means a lot to me. I really love that one. And then lastly, I have this very, very, very fun. Oh no, I have 2 more tattoos. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. But I did get these 2 at the very same time, so that could be why I forgot. So I'll show you the smaller one first, just because it's fun. So I don't know if you can see that. Like, I can't really see, but there's a really fun little dragonfly there. Dragonflies and hummingbirds make a big impact on me. My spirit animal is a hummingbird, but I feel like, so basically hummingbirds always appear to me during times of big change, or if I'm questioning something and I'm having like a thought, or I'm trying to figure out what my next step is. I know it sounds weird, but like sometimes a hummingbird will appear to me and help me make my decision, pop up at random times and help me know when I'm on the right path. And so that's hummingbirds. And dragonflies have a similar impact, but I feel like dragonflies come up to let me know when I'm not on the right path. And I know that that sounds really weird, but, or I might sound like I'm a woo-woo or like a weird spiritual girl, but yeah. So I've created my own relationships with my spirit guides and with my guardian angels, and I just know that hummingbirds and dragonflies have an impact on me and they mean something. And so I got this dragonfly tattoo because I was actually already planning to get this tattoo, which is my ode to my bunny tattoo, which I really love. I got this tattoo to commemorate me moving to San Jose and to the Bay Area with Geppetto. But basically the idea is, so you notice that this is the butt of the bunny. So it's always look forward, never look back. And then obviously this is for Geppetto. And then the flowers around it represent my family members. So my mom is the red rose. The orange is my sister. The blue is my dad. And the lavender is me, because lavender is my favorite flower. My tattoo artist is having a flash sale, and I was already planning on seeing her for this. And so I was like, oh, let me grab the dragonfly too. So I kind of forget about that one because I got them on the same day, and it was kind of just by a whim. Like, I felt like, whoa, like, this is God's way to tell me, like, I have to get one, you know? And so, yeah. Those are all the tattoos that I have. And my artist, so this is from one of my artists that's here in the Bay Area, and she did such a good job. Like, I love the watercolor. Like, I just love color tattoos, I recognized. And so I knew that I wanted to get a hummingbird tattoo, and basically my 26th birthday is coming up this year, and I decided that I was going to treat myself by getting a hummingbird tattoo, or a pair of hummingbirds, I should say, on my thigh. And I think I'll do another video like unveiling. Yeah, I'll do another video unveiling that tattoo once I get it, because I just feel like it's gonna come out so sick. My artist is so great. But something that's really funny, and something that I noticed that wasn't planned at all, is that my tattoos sit on my body like kind of in accordance with like the left brain and right brain, right? So like the left brain is very analytical and logical and not very colorful, and it's just like all black and white. And then all of my tattoos on my right side, which are in accordance with the right brain, are colorful and creative and expressive. And I just find that to be so funny and so unique. And I didn't even make that connection literally until this year. And I just started laughing, and I was telling my boyfriend about it, and he was like, wow, that is a weird coincidence. And so now that I've recognized that about myself, I'm gonna like keep that trajectory, and that's kind of like the way I'm gonna plan my tattoos like here on out. So yeah, that's basically it. I got the inspiration, like I mentioned, from this video, from literally a random conversation that I had with my mom. But yeah, I could literally do like a whole segment on just like what it was like growing up with like strict parents. I remember when I got this constellation tattoo. My mom saw it when I was changing one time, and she threatened to kick me out of the house, which was really scary and sad, because at this point I was still at a community college living at home in Sacramento. But I was like, what the heck? And so I have just like all these horror stories, and I know that my mom to this day like hates all of my tattoos, isn't the biggest fan of them, but at the end of the day, like the way I view tattoos is like, it's like I mentioned, it's a way for me to express myself and to commemorate memories and to remind myself of different messages and things. And like, I truly see my body as a temple. And if this is my body and my temple, I should be able to decorate it in whatever way feels right to me and makes me feel good. And honestly, as soon as I started getting my tattoos and expressing myself in that way, I started to feel more like myself. I genuinely felt more beautiful. I genuinely felt more understood, even if only by myself. But something that I love about tattoos is when someone sees one of your tattoos, they're like, hey, what does your tattoo mean? And it really sparks up a conversation. It's a way to relate to people. It's a way for people to understand you. And I really, really love that. So if any of you guys have any questions about tattoos or tattoo care, or you're about to get your first tattoo and you're really nervous, like, let me know. Like this video for more content from me. It really, really helps me out to get your likes. And I'm really happy that you guys have been, joining me on this journey so far. I've been having a lot of fun, and I've been getting really great feedback from you. So let's keep on keeping on. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.